Driving along the back roads of Wayne County, there's a chance you might just run up on a contraption you find a bit, well, unusual. A piece of machinery you just don't see every day on the highways and byways. That is, unless you happen to know Kenny Carnes. Now, folks around northern Wayne County have grown accustomed to seeing Kenny and his unique mode of non-motorized transportation.
This is the only sport that's called hand cycle or hand crank division, they call it. And it's the only disabled sport that allows the able-bodied to participate in. So if you chose, you could race with me. This guy that does this, though, that does participate, that's able-bodied, he's more or less the inventor of the high-tech hand cycle out of Florida, and he's amazing. He's almost third in the world. Wow. This is kind of new to me. I've been doing this really since 2003. I did the conventional, it's called a push ring racer, and that's where you push it like a regular race everyday chair, except it's a smaller push ring, and it's three-wheel design, and you kind of lay down in it the other way. Your feet are up underneath of you. But this is a new sport for us older guys.
Kenny thinks nothing of zipping through the countryside on his hand cycle. After all, he's ridden over 120,000 miles in the past 23 years. And he's competed in 375 marathons around the world. After an accident paralyzed him at the age of 18, Kenny said it took him almost 12 years to come to grips with his disability. But it's been said that if one dream should fall and break into 1,000 pieces, never be afraid to pick up one of those pieces and begin again. And that's exactly what Kenny Carnes did.
I broke my back in 1974 on Easter Sunday, April 14th, racing motorcycles semi-professionally, motocross. And my own bike landed on top of me and broke me in half, and I'm paraplegic. 39 years. I've had my moments. It took me about 12 years to accept it, and I was constantly at war with it. I just couldn't come to grips with it, and then my life was kind of in turmoil. And I had a good friend that became a recreational therapist and physical therapist with the hospital in Washington, D.C., NRH. And she talked me into doing a wheelchair race in 1987 in September, the end of September, the 25th. And once I did that race, even though I took dead last, there was the spark in me. That was the void in my life, was competition. And then they asked me if I wanted to be in the Marine Corps Marathon. And I said, why not? And I ended up, I think, 12th place in 3 hours, and then the next year I won the thing, and then in the following year I set the course record, never to be broke.
Perseverance is not a long race. It is many short races, one after another. After finding his love of racing, Kenny continued to pedal, powering his newfound dream.
At that time was rapidly changing, and it went from 4 wheels to 3 wheels, and then a short wheelbase to open wheelbase, whatever you wanted. And I happened to be on the ground roots of it all, and it was an exciting time for wheelchair racing because in 1 year in 1988 I did 72 races. Me, my mother and father were both athletic, and they're senior Olympians, and they did 45 races with me in the metropolitan D.C. area, and Maryland, Washington, Virginia.
Yeah.
And that was a good time. And my very first experience out of the country was this Achilles Roadrunner group invited me to do a race in Warsaw, Poland, a 62-mile race in October '88. And I said, is this some kind of joke? I said, Warsaw, Pennsylvania? And they said, no, really, Warsaw, Poland. And I took second in that race, and they invited me back the next year, and I won the race, and I set a world record in it in 4 hours and 32 minutes, and that was in '89. And then I went again to, then I went on to Russia from there, and I won the marathon, the Moscow Marathon, and then I went again to both of those places in 90 and 91, and that was an exciting time to go to that. And I went to the Olympics in Barcelona, Spain in 1992, and the Paralympics, which is the disabled Olympics, not the real Olympics, but it's in the same venue. And unfortunately, in the biggest stage, I laid the biggest egg, and it's very disappointing for me because I went in pretty much #1 in the world, and I just peaked too early, and I couldn't get out of my own way, and it was a shame, and I live to regret it, but that's just the way it was. I made the 2000 Australia, the team to Australia, but I always had a nemesis race. It was a 362-mile race from Fairbanks to Anchorage. It was 42 miles a day for 9 days. And I'd taken a fifth in 1997, I took a third in 96, and I took a second in 98 and 99, and it was just a monkey on my back, if you want to call it that. And I wanted the oldest guy ever to win it in 2000, and I virtually retired after that. That race can either make you or break you, and it broke me, and that was it. It was the only race really that I had in my personal little inventory that I wanted to win.
Though Kenny doesn't view himself as unusual or as a role model, he has spoken to groups and encouraged others along his journey.
Yes, I have. I've gone to elementary schools and junior highs and high schools, and even I was a motivational guest speaker for IBM and the campaign, United Campaign. And I went to 5 cities. I went to San Diego, Chicago, Houston. We got a problem, NASA, and I even went to the CIA, and that was pretty incredible. And then it ended up at the Xerox company in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And of course, my home roots were in Maryland, so I did a lot of speaking there. And I've done several speakings around here, but I've kind of more or less died down and left it to the younger crowd. And I've been even called prima donna, and that kind of hurt my feelings. So I just kind of, I've pushed hard, and I just try to be out and about, and it's nothing to be admired about. It's just something that it's nothing to feel sorry for me about. We're all conflicted with hardship, I think, in different ways, and it's how you deal with it. And of course, you can be on your own pity pot and cry about it or move on. And I've had my moments, trust me, but I've kind of decided to move on, and it's wasted energy to cry about it. Well, I think the biggest thing is to turn to other people. When I first got hurt, I didn't want to be associated to people in wheelchairs. I felt like it was something, I wanted to just be around able-bodied people. But I found my strength when I got around other wheelchair people or disabled people, and then we could share our own past problems. And it would just seem to open my competition really broadened my horizon. And it gave you that camaraderie ship, and maybe let's say you were even born with a disability, and this was your only thing, was the outlet was to compete, and then you were able to everybody seems to have found their niche when they got into sport or competition. It's a wide variety of sport that you can participate in. If you can't race, you can shoot archery, you can shoot shotguns, you can swim, you can basketball, tennis, swimming. It's anything. It's just the camaraderie ship, but I think with other disabled, don't run from it, jump right into it, and don't be ashamed of it. And people ask you questions, stop, and they're just curious, and they want to know, and they will never know if you just don't tell them, or their parents say, come away, don't bother him. And I just, if you ask me, I'll tell you what it's like. Yes, sir, I am already entered again in the Marine Corps Marathon, and this is the 39th anniversary of it, and the 40th anniversary, I'm sure that'll be a Hall of Fame reunion. So I couldn't make the 35th. I was injured at that time, and I broke my thumb and my leg, so I couldn't go to that one. But I'm excited about doing that race, and it's expensive now to travel and to race this thing all over, and I'm not that good anymore, and it's hard to admit that, but it's also the truth. And the Marine Corps Marathon's the people's race, and anybody virtually, if you make the lottery, you can get in. And virtually being a Hall of Fame recipient, I got an invite. But with that said, it's a hard race, and I did it last year in an hour and 40 minutes, and the winning runner did it in an hour and 23, and it was murder. And they were flying, and it was just unbelievable. If I would have been top 10 if it was a 23-mile race, but I died at 23 instead of 26.2.
He doesn't compete as much as he used to, but he's turned his energy toward fundraising and participating in Relay for Life. The hand cycle he uses today came from his training partner for 20 years, a man who died from pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I work for Rosewood, Walmart in Rosewood, store number 4564, and that's where you met me. You see me on the road, and I actually talked to you before on the radio years ago. But I'm really excited because last year they asked me to be part of their team. It's called the Walmart Warriors, Team 83. My mother is a suffering cancer survivor and recovering cancer survivor, and they asked me to. They're a huge supporter of the Cancer Relay for Life, and I'm really excited about being a participant of it. And with that said, I'm doing 20 miles with them and as a fundraiser, and it's an experience for me to showcase the chair and also to raise money for the Relay for Life. And it's been difficult because of the fact being individually it's been hard, but it seems like everybody knows somebody that's been touched with cancer, and a family member or a friend or whatever it be. And so it's going to be a bigger picture with more firehouses, fundraising, and it's just been harder individually, but in the big picture it's going to be good. And with Walmart, it's just been real exciting because they're going to be even a bigger sponsor this year, and it's just going to be a good opportunity for us all for the cause. Well, you'll be able to see me working at Walmart and just pushing around on the streets of Goldsboro and Wayne County.
So if you spot Kenny cycling on our county roads, slow down and acknowledge the marathon winner. For when circumstances told Kenny to give up, he listened instead to hope whispering, "You can do it."